Okay guys, we have the Boss Katana. No, I'm just kidding. Katana Mini. So this is a very inexpensive practice amp. Great for beginners. Great for anybody, especially if you want to go sit out in the front porch and play your guitar, your electric guitar, and plug her in. This thing sounds fantastic on virtually any guitar. Single coils, humbuckers. It's a really cool little amp. It's got 3 channels in it. You've got clean, you've got crunch, you got the brown sound. Not a whole lot of output though on battery power, but if you do plug it into the wall, you do get some extra wattage back out of her, because batteries don't have enough amperage to really run the amp full out the way it should. But that's batteries for you, and no rechargeables are not going to help you anymore. In fact, it's going to make things worse than alkalines. But the nice thing too is what I heard one guy in a video say is, you know, if you're playing live with this thing, I'm shaking my head going, what did he just say? Okay, come on, this thing's like what, 7 watts max if you're lucky? Yeah, you're not playing live with this. You know, if you mic'd it up, you might be able to get away with it, kind of, sort of, a little bit, tiny bit. But otherwise, yeah, not really suitable for that. But anyways, even Boss does the same thing. You know, if you're playing live with it, and I'm like, Boss, you said that? Oh man, you're on something. But anyhow, the idea is, their point they're trying to get across is if you leave batteries in it, that are good batteries obviously, and you plug in, let's say the power goes out. You're still on battery power. You're still playing. Well, the rest of your band is dead. It's like, cool, great. Everybody else, the hydro is out. They can't play, but I can because, yeah, I can carry it over. I got battery power. But it's going to be awful quiet to the crowd, that's for sure. But anyways, and that was actually full blast, full gain, full volume on the last little bit there. It's not really a super loud amp, but it's not supposed to be. It's only got a small special speaker in there, as Boss calls it. Runs off 6 AA's though, that actually you do get AA batteries with it, so you know you can run this as a battery powered amp all the time. You don't have to go out and buy an adapter for it. But if you want a little bit of extra oomph behind it, I definitely suggest then getting yourself a pedal power supply. And then you're going to get full power out of the amplifier. I would say anything that's at least, well, I would probably recommend a 1 amp power supply, but 500 milliamp you could easily do. But I would go with a 1 amp, so it gives you a little bit of extra headroom in the power, so that, you know, as you're pulling from the power supply for the circuits, you know, you're not overstraining your power supply at all. I don't know what the actual milliamp draw would be per se, because even Boss doesn't get into that much detail. But, you know, I've actually run 500 milliamp power supplies on this. It does quite well. But I do have 1 and 2 amp power supplies that give it that little bit of extra headroom as far as, you know, having full access with no restrictions whatsoever. And I think that's probably where I'm at with it. But that's my own personal preference. But yeah, 500 milliamp, you're good to go. Now, battery powered, that's optimal. I live out in the country, and our power can go off at times, you know, more often than you do in the city. And so it's kind of handy. It's like, cool, I got a battery powered amp. I'll just go sit in my room and play my electric guitar, or I'll play an acoustic because I don't need to plug that in. So very ideal either way. Great practice amp though, great for anybody. Doesn't even matter if you're a beginner. But if you want a quality product for an amp without going too nuts, right? But you're going to have something that's even got some built-in effects. Like this has delay built into it. Separate level control, separate timing control for the delay circuit. It has the clean, the crunch, the brown channels in it, which we went through at the start of the video. It does have a full EQ as well. So you do have bass, mid, and treble. You have separate gain, separate volume. I mean, there's a lot for this amp, right? On the back side, we have our auxiliary in, and we do have a headphone line out system as well. Yeah, headphones are in the back. And of course there's your power supply, plugs into here, and your 6 batteries. These are the original batteries that came with the amp. I just bought this amp again. I think this is my 3rd or 4th one. This one I'm keeping, promise. These are the batteries that come with it, which are not bad batteries. you know, and they'll last you, even these ones will last you easy 7 hours of playing. You know, depending on how high you get the volume cranked, obviously, because higher you crank stuff, and you know, you're going to draw more power. So I would say in the real world, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't get a good quality sound at good levels for about 5 hours straight. I don't see any problem with that with those batteries that they ship with it, okay? After that, I'd probably want to replace the batteries. So even at 5 hours, it's still financially feasible. Now, you're going to get a lot better runtime and a little extra output actually out of it if you use something like Duracells or Energizers. They're a lot higher output milliamp battery than these cheapies are. You know, but either way, you do lose a little bit when you're running portable battery, okay? It's just kind of the way it works. You know, even the Katana Air, I had that amp, and you actually lost quite a bit of output wattage running on batteries versus running a power supply. This is no different. You know, you're going to get a little bit more oomph out of it if you run a power supply over batteries, but you're still going to get amazing runtime on batteries. So it is fantastic. So you can like take this thing to the cottage with you, a couple extra sets of batteries, you know, and take it for the weekend or whatever, and go through your whole weekend just going jam nuts with this thing and not even have to worry about plugging in anywhere. Go to the beach. You know, I used to go to the beach when I was a kid, and we used to, even our lead guitarist went with me once or twice, but we actually got offered jobs that way. And, you know, because we're just sitting there playing, you know, Bryan Adams and Ozzy and all this other stuff, you know, and it was great, you know, it was great times, you know, but I mean, we're talking like a lot of years ago, we're talking back in the early 80s, right? Probably still pull the same stuff off today. But, you know, we had little practice amps that would go on our belt buckle kind of thing, or on our belt. They were little snotty things compared to this. This is quality. But something like this, you could really, everybody would know you're playing guitar, that's for darn sure, right? So it would get out quite well. So this is pretty cool for that. But quality built either way. It is Boss after all. Now these things are $160 in Canada now for the black, and $150 for the red version. My wife has the red version because that's her favorite color, and you know, and hey, you save $10 going red. But either way, they're fantastic little amps. Now, as far as what I don't like, well, I would have rather seen a reverb in there as opposed to delay. I don't personally use delay, so this is my personal pet peeve, okay? It's nothing against the amp. I mean, the delay can kind of be, if you screw around long enough with the time control, you can get a reverb-ish sound, right? But to have a dedicated reverb, I would have rather seen that over a delay. But that's just me. So that's kind of, but see, these videos on the gear is what I don't like about them, but I can still live with it, right? And, because otherwise I wouldn't have any of this stuff, I'd just find something different. But yeah, so that's kind of, I think my main pet peeve would be I would have rather seen a reverb circuit instead of a delay circuit. This thing, by the way, does take very well the pedals, or pedal boards. So if you wanted to buy a couple of pedals extra for more effects, you know, and stay in the clean channel. Now the clean channel is not massively loud either, if you want to keep it clean. So if we go to our clean, now the volume and the gain is full blast here. So if we do that, and just so that you know what you're in for a little bit more. That's got a bit of a nice little breakup. It's very chimey, right? It's almost like, that's clean. So there's 3 o'clock. Haul the volume back to say half and bring the gain up. You're getting sort of the same thing. Let's turn that off. So bring the gain to about 9 o'clock. Might be able to squeeze a little bit more. So that's probably be about, that's just kind of getting into the breakup just a hair, but still very acceptable for clean. Especially with humbuckers, right? And humbuckers are definitely a lot higher output than single coils. So on single coils, you'll get away with cranking things up a lot more before a breakup, but then you're still going to have a lot of reduced volume output in comparison, because humbuckers just put out a heck of a lot more output into the input of the amp than what single coils do. But bedroom practice amp, fantastic. You know, couldn't be happier kind of thing, right? Go out and play in the front deck, you know, grab one of my electric guitars, you know, summertime obviously, and just go outside and play and have portable battery power. I don't need to have perfectly clean tone out there, but I do want a little bit of volume, you know what I mean? And this thing can achieve that without any difficulty, you know, so that's fine. Like I said, the delay, well, the delay works quite well. It's actually kind of a really nice delay. And you can kind of get a reverb-ish effect out of it. So it's not really a make it or break it on that. I mean, I don't get a dedicated reverb, which I'd like better. But I think really as far as the speaker goes, they do have a good, nice speaker, but it could have been better dialed into the cabinet, so that you could also have a little bit better output and being cleaner sounding at the same time. So the breakup not happening so quickly, right? But the brown channel and the crunch, they have more output obviously, because they're all about gain, right? Where the clean, it's lower volumed before we get to a breakup and, you know, that sort of thing. But we can still get a good output out of it at a very nice clean or a borderline breakup. So at least that's how it's working with the humbucker stuff, right? Now I do have, of course, a Strat here, but we're not going to even bother because it's not about this. It's not about that. It's, if you want to hear what this amp sounds like with different stuff, I've got videos covering that already on my channel. So look up the Katana Mini on my channel, because I've had these before and most recent videos, so you get an idea, well-rounded. But I think overall, I mean, I really love the amp. I think it's great. I think it's well worth the money. It is Boss after all, and it's a quality product. So, you know, you do pay for quality. You do also pay for features. Because I've seen a lot of amps like this where, you know, yes, they cost less, and, you know, maybe they might be a little bit more output perhaps, but they don't have the features. They're too plainy Janey, right? So you got to kind of look at all the angles here, right? Of what are you getting for the features for your money, and of course being it's Boss. I mean, come on, Boss has been around since the Stone Age, so they make good stuff. Anyway, that's where we're at, and we're done with this one. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one. But don't take this as a review. These are just my dislikes more than anything about my current gear, so that you have an idea where I'm at. So, and see where you're possibly at as well, what you can kind of live with. But do check my reviews out though on all my music gear. I've got tons of it up there, so enjoy the channel for that stuff. There's tons of gear. Anyway, see ya.